Am I the a-hole for not allowing my daughter to wear her late mother's wedding dress since she will not fit into it? My late wife was a very small person. When we got married, she was only 115 pounds, so her wedding dress size reflects that. She passed away 2 years ago, so she cannot attend our daughter's wedding that will be in 2025. Now my daughter wants to wear the dress, and I told her it wouldn't be a good idea since she won't be able to squeeze into it. She told me she can just up the size of it, and I told her I would think about it. I looked into it, and they basically cut the dress up to size it up. It really feels like I would be cutting up her memory and keepsake, especially when I don't think she would want this to her dress. I am not ready to let go of this piece of my wife and only have a picture of our wedding day left. I informed her no, she can't wear the dress since they would be cutting it up. This resulted in a huge argument about me gatekeeping my wife's things. I told her no again, and that she can wear some of her jewelry. She hung up. She clearly thinks I am a jerk, and my sons are now on me to give up the dress. Am I the a-hole? Since it was asked twice, my wife always wanted to go dress shopping with our daughters. She loved her wedding dress, and I don't think she would be okay with it being cut up. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister-in-law it's not my fault you are poor, and I am not paying for you to join the vacation? This is about my brother's wife, Hannah. My brother is military, and he is gone for long periods of time. She lives off what he makes and doesn't have a job herself. Not to mention she was pregnant, but he was gone for 6 months at that point. She miscarried, but it was clear to the whole family she cheated on him. So, I don't really like her at all. I make a good amount of money and am child-free. There is a girls' trip coming up and you pay your way. All the women of the family were invited, and everyone said yes except Hannah. I got a call from her asking for me to pay for her ticket so she could go on the vacation. I told her no, and she went on about us being family, that she can't afford it if someone doesn't pay for her. I was annoyed at this point and told her it's not my fault she is poor. I am not paying for her to go on vacation. She started calling me a jerk, so I hung up. She is blowing up my phone and people are messaging me about what happened. So, am I the a-hole?
Am I the a-hole for giving my son my steak and upsetting my sister's kids? My son and his cousins are close, so my sister and I have family get-together often. We take turns hosting. I should say now that my sister and I have incredibly different parenting styles. My husband and I decided to only have one child so we could pour all of our love and time into raising him. My sister has 5 kids and has the same authoritarian parenting style our parents did. This past weekend my sister had us over for a barbecue. They made hot dogs for the kids and steak for the adults. Growing up our parents always did stuff like that. They ate nicer food than we did and got to go places that we didn't. It made some of us feel bad, so I've never done that to my son. It's important to me that he knows he's just as worthy of nice things, good meals, etc. as his parents. Usually, he likes the kid food my sister makes, so it's not an issue, but he really hates hot dogs. He took one bite of it and then just sat there silently while everyone else was eating. He's a nice boy, so he didn't want to raise a fuss and complain about hating hot dogs. I didn't want him to go hungry, so I just grabbed our plates and switched them. He nodded at me, and we both just carried on eating without saying anything. My sister's 6-year-old pointed it out and raised a fuss, and said she wants steak too. Pretty soon all of her kids were mad, and she went off on me. She told me it was my job to settle them down since it was my fault they were all riled up. I told her she could trade food with them like I did to make things fair. Long story short, it was a whole ordeal. I just didn't want my son to go hungry while everyone else ate. He's generally not that picky of an eater, but he just really hates hot dogs. I wouldn't force myself to eat something I hate either. So, am I the a-hole for trading food? Am I the a-hole for telling parents not to take their kids trick-or-treating to a certain house? My husband and I have 5 kids between us. He had 2 from a previous relationship, 9 and 13, I have 14, and we have 2 together, 3 and 6. Our 6-year-old is autistic. She is verbal, but she doesn't like strangers and doesn't talk to them. I was worried about taking her trick-or-treating, but I know she practiced at school, and we practiced the signs candy, please and thank you. We took the kids to one of the bigger trick-or-treating neighborhoods, which is where a lot of parents take their young kids for Halloween due to the streets being closed down and increased police activity. It was going well at first, then she started to get tired. At one of our last houses, she didn't speak or sign. The woman was handing out goodie bags with king-size candy bars and stickers. She gave one to all of my kids except for my 6-year-old. She ran to me crying, and my 14-year-old told me that the woman didn't give her a bag because she wouldn't say trick or treat. I went up and explained that she's autistic and doesn't speak much, but the woman refused to give her anything unless she said trick or treat. After some back and forth, I made the kids give the bags back and we left. I texted a group chat with parents in my daughter's classes, both her first grade class and special ed, gave them the address, and explained what happened so they wouldn't have to deal with that with their kids. Word spread pretty quickly, so that house was not very popular last night, except for some pranks. Some people even posted about her on Nextdoor. Now she's posting about me and my kids, and this whole thing is blown out of proportion. I was wondering if I was wrong for telling parents not to take their kids to her house.
Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend that she should lose some weight? My 27M girlfriend Rachel, 27F, and I have been dating for a year now. She used to be of optimal weight when we first met, but lately she's been putting on a lot of it. To clarify, she's not overweight right now, but I worry that she will rapidly become obese anyway. I told her when we were hanging out, hey, I want to say that I'd like you no matter what, but you have been putting on a lot of weight. I am worried that you'll become obese soon, which is unhealthy. Do you think we can work together to prevent that? Then I suggested that we could try working out, etc. She looked at me, shocked, and then began to yell at me. She accused me of not loving her as usual, which I denied by saying that I just don't want her to be unhealthy. I told her that even though I'd like her no matter what, the fact remains that I have to point out when she's ruining her appearance, that it's what a good boyfriend does. She did not listen and just began to scream at me, saying that she never expected that from me, etc. It resulted in her distancing herself from me, and she's not talking to me now. I am worried that I did not do the right thing. I only wanted what's good for both of us. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for making my stepdaughter leave the restaurant for disrespecting the waiter? I, 42M, was dining with my wife and kids yesterday. It included Haley, 16F, who's my stepdaughter. We had picked a relatively expensive restaurant as we thought it'd be better to do things properly as we were going out together for the first time in a while. During dinner, while the waiter was serving one of the dishes, he accidentally tripped or something. I think he might have lost his grip, I am not sure. But some of it fell onto Haley's clothes, ruining it. He apologized immediately, but she got livid at him. She proceeded to call him a bastard, saying, "Why are you a damn waiter if you can't even watch where you are going? You are already paid low, so I'd have thought you'd be more careful." She was shouting, and almost everyone was looking at us now. I was shocked and asked her to apologize for that. She refused by saying she does not have to, as he had ruined her dress. I asked her to apologize repeatedly, but she did not listen. In the end, I told her that I might not be able to force her to apologize, but that I can definitely refuse to pay for her. I asked her to get out of the restaurant. She began screaming and protested. I did not relent, and the end result is that she had to leave. My wife lashed out at me, saying that I overreacted and that although what she said might have been wrong, it did not warrant asking her to leave. So, what do you think? Am I the a-hole?
Am I the a-hole for refusing to be paired up with the Down syndrome kid? I, 16F, am in a class in my high school for special needs students. It's not purely for disabled kids, but mostly for people 16 to 20 who had drug or mental health problems that led them to dropping out of school. There's one kid in the class, Daniel, 17M, and he has Down syndrome. I have an autoimmune condition that makes me miss a lot of school because I'm in hospital, and I use a cane or a walker. Our class coordinator, Brenda, likes to get us to do different activities during the day because our classes are structured differently from the rest of the school, mostly trying to get us to socialize by doing activities like board games or helping out in the school canteen. Daniel and I are the only two physically disabled students in the class, and because of this we keep getting paired up. I hate it. He's really rude to me and will do stuff like take my cane and give it to his other friends because he thinks it's funny. I've told Brenda that he won't quit harassing me and I don't want to be left alone with him, but she just tells me I'm being prejudiced against his condition and I'm lying about it because he has Downs and not a mean bone in his body. I'm now refusing to do anything with him and walked out of the kitchen when we were both rostered. Am I the a-hole for this? Everyone keeps saying that people with Downs don't know how to be mean, so I don't know if this is actually discriminatory.
Am I the a-hole for choosing my family over a kid I may have accidentally fathered? I, 30M, spent a month in Germany when I was 22. There I had hooked up with a woman, Sia, 35F now. It was very casual, and we used protection. Around 2 weeks back she found me on Instagram and told me we had a son. She couldn't let me know earlier because she did not know my email. I did not use any social media platform until Instagram very recently, and my old phone number wasn't active anymore. She wants me to meet him and be a father. Thing is, I have a family here. I got married around 5 years back and have 2 children. I can't just get up and leave. I love my wife very much and she would be heartbroken if she gets to know I can lose my family over this. I told Sia I cannot be there for them. I don't know her kid. I don't even know if the kid is mine even. While timeline checks out, we weren't in a relationship or exclusive, just a couple casual hookups. I cannot lose my family and life I have built over a kid that may or may not be mine. She got furious. Messages began to be all caps, telling me I had a responsibility to my child. I don't deny it, but I have a responsibility to my children here as well, the ones who know me as dad. She called me an a-hole and moron, am I? Edit to answer questions. Premarital affairs and intercourse are not taken lightly in my culture. I was not with my wife. I met her 2 years later. We got married in a year because we were in love and couldn't wait to start a life together. She knows I had a couple of hookups back in the day. It was not well received. Only the fact none of them meant anything to me and basically did not even exist in our world because it was a different country was the reason she was okay. Bringing this up to my wife, from what I know of her, will break her heart. She might take our kids and go to her own home, thus ruining our marriage. Update: am I the a-hole for choosing my family over a kid I may have accidentally fathered? I messaged Sia about possibility of a paternity test. She asked me to go to Germany for that, to see my son before I question it. I told her that was not possible, that I could only do it via online agency. She started saying how cumbersome the procedure is, and if I just saw my son, I would change my mind. I stood firm and she said fine, she will do as necessary. She promised to share her number and address. All convo till now was via Instagram, but then blocked me. I made a new account to find her, but when I messaged, she blocked that account too. I told my wife about this and showed her the chat. It was scary to watch her. She asked how sure I was that this kid was not mine. I told her same as I told you here, that I had used condom, Sia was supposedly on pills, and we were not exclusive. We hooked up like only twice, while timeline checks out, like around 9 months. It can also totally be possible it's not mine. My wife used her account to check Sia's account, but her account was deactivated. At this point, my wife is taking my word at it. She is upset and had words with me over my stupid behavior and having sex before marriage. I agree, it was so stupid. I wish I could go back in time and just abstain. There was a lot of tears and anger and apologies. For now it's on the back burner. Unless Sia contacts again, we have decided to forget this and move on. For all we know, she was just trying to find a guy to be her kid's dad, and kid is not even mine. The fact she blocked my account and deleted hers seems to show she might have been baiting. I don't know at this point. I showed my post here and replies too. She calmed down more seeing my replies about how scared I am of losing her and our kids. I think that's why she forgave me. Am I the a-hole for suggesting my friend's accent is made up? I, 29M, have been close friends with my buddy, 29M, since we were kids. He is black in a predominantly white neighborhood, and growing up was always the smartest guy in the room. He excelled in school, picked up new concepts quickly, was the best at music, sports, good with girls, you name it. After high school, I left and went to our state's university, and he went to a HBCU. Since coming back, I've noticed that when he's talking to other black people, he talks completely different, and comes the slang, the ebonics, even the animated gesturing. However, when we are back with our old friends, it's reduced back to his normal accent. I mentioned something one time about his change in tone, and he got a little pissed about it, saying I should read a book and learn about AAVE, African American Vernacular English, which is an actual language. The thing is, I know about AAVE and its legitimacy, it's just that growing up he didn't learn it. Just the other day we were out grabbing food and the server was black, and wouldn't you know, here comes the act again. It's all, yo what's good homie, lemme get dat sandwich with the side salad and you know I gots to get some dat, etc. Anyways, I made a crack about it again going, oh there it is again. He pressed me further this time telling me to explain what I meant. This basically ended with him calling me racist and splitting on the lunch we had planned. When the server came back and noticed he was gone, I just nervously said that he had an emergency and canceled his order. I ate alone in silence, which was awful. So, am I the a-hole?